Hey, what's up everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things Rocket League. Got some rumors to break down for you guys real quick about the situation with the Fadeaway crew, and we've also got to recap week 3 of North American Grid. The playoffs and the groups are all done, and some surprising results there, so that is what today's video is going to be all about. But before we get into that, as always, if you guys enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, notifications, all that fun stuff. And if you'd like to support me further, the easiest way to do so is all the social medias you see over here. You can find in the description down below. Make sure you guys go give those a like and follow as well. But with that said, let's get straight into the video. First things first, obviously there's been a lot of conversation about Fadeaway on the channel as of late about what's happening with the roster, because they are some of the more talented players in the scene. And the first one, as in recommendation, like I was talking about, is how the swag roster, which was Flakes, Rezi, Ease, and RixGG, have been trying to figure out what their new third is going to be. And it looks like, in a rumor recently put out by Shift, as always, is that Flakes has actually been trying to continue his competitive career. He's been streaming a little bit more and has most recently tried out for RixGG. If you guys don't know RixGG, it is Magnus, Dead Monster, and Polar. And it looks like he's going to be trying to replace Polar from the looks of it. Ironically enough, in the replies to this, there was actually scrims that were put up on ballchasing.gg, where you can find replays and stats about different replays. And you can actually filter it by pro only. And in one of those pro only replays was Cookser, Rezi, and Yukeo up against Magnus, Flakes, and Dead Monster. So there's some possibilities of some roster changes switching up here based upon who may be where. You obviously have teams that are trying to fit in different places and try to figure out what is the best chance for success. So it'll be interesting to see how these things end up playing out, because at the end of the day, obviously all these guys are trying to find the best team to make the best run in the spring split. That continues and further spreads the rumor, because in another post by Shift immediately after, it says that Yukeo is continuing to keep his options open moving forward. Austrian had a tryout with Swag roster alongside Rezi and Cookser, who recently tried out with Yukeo's old team Fadeaway. So it does look like things are starting to align. There was the ball chasing replays that try to showcase that as well, but until official things come out, again, this is just a rumor. They may be playing together and testing things out, but the ultimate result of who is going to end up where we won't know until official signups actually happen. On to the big content part of this video is going to be the breakdown of the grid for week 3 for those that did not watch on Thursday and Friday of this past week. So just a couple days ago was the start of the grid for North America. It had been 6 weeks since we saw a grid in action. We get another one next week, Tuesday. So quick turnaround time this time. Because of the holiday break, we haven't seen North America Rocket League at a high level in quite a while. To go over it real quick, we're going to go ahead and bust through these results. We don't take up too much of you guys' time. There is 4 groups of 16 teams. In Group A, you've got Rogue, Space Station, Pittsburgh Knights, and Alpine. Group B, you got Jamal Jabari, Energy, Kansas City Pioneers, and E United. In Group C, you've got G2, V1, Susquehanna Sonics, and Continuum. And in Group D, you got NV Peeps, Ghost Gaming, and Charlotte Phoenix. As for the results, it was Rogue, Space Station, PK, and Alpine. Rogue and Space Station both go 2-1, but Space Station does have a worse game differential. In Group B, the biggest upset is Jamal Jabari 3-0, beating Energy on the start of the day, caught everybody by surprise. Also, E United 0-3, pretty big surprise there. Not the results we were expecting. Over in Group C, you had G2, who goes perfect on the day with a 9-0, perfect game differential 3-0. Version 1 finally breaking their streak of like an absurd amount of matches of going to game 5 or games that they end up falling just short in. They do beat the Sonics. I was catching those matches. You got to see a glimpse of what V1 was really talking about. But the big focus after talking with Fireburner, and I do appreciate you guys' questions in the comments. We asked some of those on the broadcast. Recommend go and check those out. But the big focus was the fact that their defense didn't really feel solidified like they wanted to. It was a little bit too panicky. So there was some fixtures with that, and coming into the next day, which we'll talk about here in a second. Continuum, unfortunately, ending 0-3. In Group D, you've got NV, Peeps, Ghost Gaming, and Charlotte Phoenix. NV going 3-0, looking pretty dang good, with the Peeps shortly behind him. The only loss coming to the Peeps was from NV, and then Ghost Gaming, and then Charlotte Phoenix at 0-3. Let's take a look at the playoff bracket, where we've got the 16 teams now officially seeded. First match, Rogue versus Charlotte Phoenix. Pretty quick 3-0 here for Rogue. The biggest thing that I want to take away from this is they do hold Charlotte Phoenix to only 1 goal. So 4-1, 3-0, 4-1. Pretty decisive match from Rogue as expected. On the other side, you do get the biggest upset, I think, of the bracket, which is going to be Sonics sweeping Energy and holding them to 1 goal. We'll say it's a very close series, 1-0, 2-0, and 2-1. I will most likely be rewatching this match on Monday on my stream, twitch.tv/Lawler, link down below. But yeah, this one was pretty surprising. We were watching the V1 matches and casting those, and like we saw the bracket update and we're like, what the heck is going on? So pretty shocking there. We'll have to go and kind of deep dive and see what happened there. But V1 did play the Sonics just the day before, so Sonic's a pretty dang good team with the addition of T-Corel. G2 over E United 3-1. No shock there. E United does start strong, but eventually G2 warms up and takes the cake. Peeps over Pittsburgh Knights, as expected. PK has been kind of struggling as of late, but they do put up a pretty good fight in overtime in game number 4. And kind of goes back and forth, but pretty close series in the score differential. NV 3-0s continue, no surprise there. But out of the big 4 that we talk about, both Energy and Space Station out immediately in the first round. A pretty big shock there, with Kansas City Pioneers actually beating Space Station. Space Station was the opportunity to close out a series 2 games in a row. They were up 2-1 in the series in game 4, and they lost that one 3-1, and they lost game 5 3-2. So Kansas City Pioneers, a team that we have seen a little bit of a slowdown from, does manage to come out big here, especially with the rule change for RLCS, where the top 6 make a really big difference. This is a pretty big deal for Kansas City Pioneers. Jamal Jabari then gets 3-0'd by Alpine. Really good performance by Alpine. And then version 1 wiped the floor with Ghost. A 12-3 goal differential. This was when I, on the broadcast, started to notice, like, this is a really good looking version 1 team today. Let's see if they can continue. We then move into the quarterfinals. We got Rogue versus Sonics, as well as G2 versus the Peeps, NV versus Kansas City Pioneers, and Alpine versus version 1. Every single game went to game 5. Every single series going the distance. Super close matches. I don't think you can really pick a bad one out of all these. NA, despite the long break, continues to put out really solid series and really exciting series no matter what tournament as we get into the top 8 and moving forward. Rogue does end up winning over Sonics, and they do it in a reverse sweep. Sonics was 4-0 and 3-2 with an overtime of 49 seconds in game 2, and then 3-0, 3-2, 3-2. So really close series between Sonics and Rogue. Rogue does manage to hold on. Another reverse sweep. G2 versus the Peeps. G2 gets reverse swept. They go up 3-1 and 2-1. And then there's an overtime, and then another overtime, and then another overtime. Just like it was against V1. G2 had 2 overtimes with them. They have 3 here against the Peeps, and they get reverse swept. There's over 10 minutes of overtime in the series. It was incredible. And the Peeps had something to show for it, and that's going to continue as a theme for the rest of the day. Envy ends up winning 3-2 again over Kansas City Pioneers. Another overtime in there. But Envy does really turn it on in the last 2 games where they completely shut out Kansas City Pioneers. And then Alpine versus V1 was just a really good series. Both teams fighting really well. Got to a little bit of boom ball, and eventually teams started to change it up and really slow the pace a bit. But really high scoring games. In game 4 for Alpine, 7-4. It got really chaotic. People just basically stopped playing defense and were like, yep, we're just going to send the house, play fast and aggressive. And the slowdown and the less panicky defense started to come back. So version 1 does end up winning 3-1 in game 5. They move forward. So in your semifinals, you've got Rogue versus the Peeps and Envy versus version 1. In Rogue versus the Peeps, it is another nail biter, another back and forth series. I don't think I've seen a semifinal in a long time that's been really one-sided in North America. And the Peeps here, again, the one thing that on version 1, when I watched the broadcast and they end up playing the Peeps, AJ on defense is the most infuriating, frustrating son of a brick wall. Not only does he do it on offense, but on defense, he does it incredibly. You also see how to gyro a lot in these highlights. The composure that he has. He's slowing it down. He's taking his time. A lot of confidence in his play. You'll see it in the grand finals as well, as Peeps do win over Rogue 4-3, and they progress forward. In the grand finals, you can see him have that level of composure as well in the highlights. So really well played by the team as a full. Illusion, you know he's playing well if you're not calling his name, because usually it's in a negative thing. He's there to tie things together, and he does a phenomenal job. On the other side, you get NV versus version 1, also going the distance to game 7, 2 overtimes in game 5 and in game 6. This one was a bit of inaccuracy from version 1, I will say, at certain moments. And also, Envy's offense is just absolutely lethal. The amount of time that they keep a team under pressure on their half with minimal boost because of boost deny and boost management. This is probably one of the best series I've seen in a long time. This series was so exciting, not only to cast, but just to watch from both sides, because Envy's a really solid team. You see glimpses of V1 recreating that as well. And I think it does put a little bit of respect on version 1 that has been much so needed. So I talked to Torment in their interview asking about, can they recreate this? Will this be an ongoing thing? And they hope to, so we'll see what happens. But man, Envy versus V1, probably one of the best series I've seen in a really long time. That just seems to be the case with Envy. They're a really good team and people want to put up a fight. We then get into the grand finals with Peeps versus Envy, and it didn't look like anything was going to stop the Peeps and AJ's defense, paired again with a lot of possession control, and Envy did seem to miss a lot of their shots. Mist was absolutely dominant in the version 1 series where his shots were top left every single time, and a lot of these were actually off the mark in the grand final. Overall, back and forth series, but Peeps do end up closing it out. They start off really hot. And then that kind of gets countered right away. I think Envy is one of the best teams at making adjustments very quickly. Benefit of having some of the best positional players in the league in both players like Mist as well as Turbo, and Atomic has been more confident than ever. He's going for some stuff that I'm just like, why is he there? And he puts stuff away. So it's really exciting to see the Peeps as well as Envy battle it back and forth, but the Peeps end up winning. A big deal for them is they try to push into top 6 for a guaranteed spot of the international majors, and they are towards the top as well. So a lot of teams taking a pretty big jump up in the grid that were in that middle of the packed area that are fighting for that top 6 spot. So top 4 performances: Peeps, Envy, version 1, and Rogue. Pretty big deal without G2 Energy or Space Station there. So a little bit of diversity here in North America. That's going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, drop those in the comments down below. And if you guys have any things for me, easiest way to do it is hit me up on the social medias, which can be found in the description. But I am going to go eat some pizza and get ready for the football game, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace.